Hi, I'm Derek Bailey. I'm the general partner of WolvertonBailey Natural Gas Engines. I'm here today to introduce you to what I believe is the investment opportunity of the century: zero pollution internal combustion engines. I'll say that again: zero pollution internal combustion engines. Now, the internal combustion engine is largely responsible for our society as we know it today. After the invention of the internal combustion engine, and namely the auto and diesel engines, we went on an industrial revolution that lasted a century. It has underpinned our economy. It underpins the strength of our military. The internal combustion engine has been that important to who we are today. There's always been one problem with this technology. The internal combustion engine is also the second major contributor to the global warming emissions that are leading to climate change. Now, it's created a dilemma for governments around the world of having to choose between the economy and the environment. WolvertonBailey has a new technology, the Counterpoise Bi-Radial engine, that removes the pollution from the internal combustion engine. Our technology does two things. It makes the internal combustion engine a near zero emitter, and we also double the MPG, making our technology a win for the environment and a win for business. So I'm going to take a few minutes just to tell you about our engine, just the basics of it, because at the end of our presentation, you'll see that we have books that you can download for a further explanation. So first, let's talk about the counterpoise engine. An engine is really about efficiency. There are a few things that we're concerned with when we think about engine efficiency: the size of the engine, how much power, and how much fuel. What the counterpoise engine does is it allows you to use half the pistons, which means the engine's half the size, which also means that you use half the fuel, but we give you equal power. Now, what is pollution? Pollution primarily, or emissions from an engine primarily, is unburnt fuel. The number one characteristic of the WolvertonBailey Bi-Radial Counterpoise engine is that it burns all of its fuel. We've incorporated a multi-spark header device combined with other technology, a longer combustion cycle, a shorter exhaust cycle, to allow our engine to burn all of its fuel. In addition to burning all of its fuel, being smaller and using half the fuel, our engine uses all of the energy. Now, in the vehicles that you drive today, you have a cooling system. Well, the cooling system is really there to remove unused energy. So our engine is not designed with a cooling system. It's air-cooled because we use all of the energy that's created by the combustion in the engine. Now, we learned in our physics class that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Well, every engine uses the explosive pressure of the fuel on the top of the piston head. And what energy is not put to work there is basically carried away by your cooling system. Our engine uses the opposite pressure to counter-rotate our engine, which adds more power and torque through our customized gill set. Finally, our engine has a new filter that we're developing that filters out anything that's left, which is not very much because we burned all the fuel. And this is how we achieve near zero emission from our engine. So we give you power, we give you fuel economy, we give you a smaller engine size, and we do all this without emissions. That's the Counterpoise Bi-Radial engine in a nutshell. So, let's talk about our market opportunity. We have an urgent situation where governments around the world, from China to India to Africa, governments around the world are struggling with a major problem of balancing their economy and economic growth against environmental concerns. Now, no government official is going to stop the trucks and the trains and the ships and the other freight carrying vehicles that underpin their economy. You cannot carry 10 tons of freight in an electric car. So while the electric car revolution helps a little bit, the key problem is what do we do about pollution from the engines, the heavy engines that underpin the world economy. WolvertonBailey and our Counterpoise Bi-Radial engine is the solution to heavy engine emissions. The number 2 polluter, right behind power plants, is heavy engine emissions. And we have an engine that removes the emissions, but not just remove the emission. Our engine also nearly doubles the MPG from these vehicles. The other issue that governments face is convincing or offering incentives to business to switch to cleaner engines. When we can save a business millions of dollars a year in fuel costs, this is an incentive beyond government regulations, and this is why we have such a huge opportunity. So I'm asking you to imagine a world where the number 2 pollution problem on the planet no longer exists. This is what we're going to bring to market. This is why our opportunity is so big, and this is why you want to invest in low pollution, near zero pollution, internal combustion engines, a technology that fueling infrastructure is in place. Our technology is going to fulfill that 50 to 100 year gap before electric is truly green, meaning that all of the power from our power plants come from green technologies, wind, solar, these types of technologies. And while these technologies are making great headway, all responsible parties will admit that the complete solution, the complete all-electric solution, is at least 50, and some experts think more than 100 years into the future. So we have a situation that's urgent right now. The weather patterns in Texas and in New Orleans and around the globe means that we have to do something about climate change now. We cannot wait another 100 years, and WolvertonBailey has the technology to begin to address climate change problems today. We need your support, and I'm asking you to invest in our company. We're going to do big things both for our economy and for our environment. And again, I believe that we are offering you the most significant investment for the next century. I thank you for listening, and I look forward to your investment in WolvertonBailey natural gas engines.